Now, let's begin with the second part of the study guide benchmark review questions. In this video, we're going to do questions from 21 through 30. Let's begin. Welcome back to another video, and it starts a little bit like this. A container in the shape of a triangular prism, very important, is used to hold a slice of pizza. Now, the dimensions of the container are shown in the diagram. When it says dimensions, it refers to these, meaning the sizes, the lengths, the widths, the heights, whatever you want to call them. Now, what is the volume of the container in cubic inches? Okay, well, first things first. This is a triangular prism, as they already said. What's the formula? Well, the formula is V for volume is equal to big B times H, H being height. Now, how do I find my big B? Well, I'm glad you asked. Big B, you're going to be able to find it in a little bit. What is big B, first of all? Well, big B represents area of the base. Which one would be my base here? Well, that's where I use the name of the shape. Triangular prism. The name is also the base. So the base is going to be a triangle. The base will be this one right here. Aquí. Now, even though I'm passing the lines, it doesn't matter. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. That's the base. How do we find the area of the base? Pretending that this does not exist. This is not a part of it. For right now, we only want the area of the green. Only want the area of the triangle. How do we find the area for this triangle right here? Well, how we find the area, what's the formula? Big B is equal to half base times height. And once again, big B, half, what's the base? 10.8. What's the height? 7.2. Can we do half of anything? Yes and no, in a way, right? Usually we have to have whole numbers in order to do half of anything. But in this case, I know that half of 10.8 would be 5.4 times 7.2. Now, big B, you're going to find it by actually multiplying these two. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. We're done with 2. 1x means 1 0. 7 times 4, 28. 7 times 5, 35 plus 2, 37. 8 plus 0, 8. 0 plus 8, 8. 1 plus 7, 8. And then 3, you bring it down. How many decimal places do I have? 1 and a 2. So that means right here. So your big B is equal to 38.88. Now, after finding, and this, once again, this is the area of the base. Well, there you go. So now I have my big B. My big B being 38.8. And I can do 38.88. I can do 38.9. And that will be extremely close to my actual value. What's the height for the triangular prism? Now we're going to stop pretending it is in the prism. Now we're going to consider everything, the 3 dimensions. We already did these 2, so that means we need the height. H represents height, so height is 1.5. After we multiply those 2, that's our answer. So 38.9 times 1.5. 9 times 5 is 45. 8 times 5 plus 4, 44. 3 times 5, 15. Plus 4, 19. We're done with 5. 1x means 1, 0. What's 9 times 1? 9. 8 times 1, 8. And 3 times 1, 3. 5 plus 0, 5. 4 plus 9, 13. And the 1 goes at the top. 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus 8, 18. 3 plus 1, 5. Now, how many decimal places do I have? 1, 2. So that means 1, 2. My answer, my value, or my volume, specifically, should be 58.35 cubic inches. There we go. That would be our answer. The one that is closest to that will be this one. Now, the reason it isn't exactly 58.32 is because we used 38.9 instead of the 38.88. Otherwise, it would have given exactly our answer. But it's close enough, and let's move on. Now, Hector paid $105 for 6 tickets. That's something that I want to write down right away. $105 for 6 tickets. And that's what Hector paid. Now, each ticket costs the same amount of money. What was the cost of each ticket in dollars and cents? Okay, well, we have $105. That's our total. The total amount paid. But it's for 6 tickets. How would we be able to find for 1 ticket how much they spent? Just for 1 ticket, how much would it be? Well, I'm pretty sure some of you already know what to do, and you're already doing it, right? In your head. And I can write 6x or 6t, and the variable being the unknown value, what we don't know, or more specifically, what each ticket costs. How much each ticket costs. That's what we're trying to find. Now, the 6 and the t, they're multiplying each other. The opposite of multiplying by 6 would be dividing by 6. And I'm pretty sure several of you already knew that you had to divide, and that's really good, and that's very impressive. How many times can 6 go into 1? You can't, right? What about 10? 1 time. What's 6 times 1? 6. 10 minus 6? 4. And then the 5, we bring it down. How many times can 6 go into 45? 7. What's 6 times 7? 42. 45 minus 42? 3. We add a decimal point. Decimal place, 0. And then bring it down. 6 times what would give you 30? All right. 5. That means we're done with our division. My cost for each ticket would be 17. You put exactly the same thing. 17.5. That doesn't make any sense. So we add a 0, and that's our answer. Because if it was 5 cents, it would have to be 17.05. In this case, it's 17.5. So it's $17.50. That's the cost. The table shows the number of different types of pies sold at a bakery during one day. These are the pies that were sold during one day. Apple pie, pecan, lemon, and chocolate pies. These are the ones that were sold. Based on the results in the table, which statement about the pies sold at this bakery during this 1 week is not true? Now, what we're looking for, or what we're trying to look for, is which statement is not true. Now, the very first thing that we do, that I recommend you do, each time you have something like this, always add them up. Always see what the total is. Because more common than not, you always use the total. Almost always. Now, 8 plus 4, what's 8 plus 4? Plus 3? Plus 5? $20. Ahora, now that I have the total, right? I can even try to label it 5 out of 20, 3 out of 20, 4 out of 20, 8 out of 20. That's something that will help you a lot if you're dealing with data or trying to compare them, trying to see what's true and what's false. Ahora, it is 2 times as likely for a chocolate pie to be sold. How many do we have for chocolate pie? 8, right? 8. As for lemon pie to be sold, how many do we have for lemon? 4. Now, I'm going to ask you this. Is it 2 times as likely for a chocolate pie to be sold as for lemon pie to be sold? Is 8 2 times 4? Yes. 2 times 4 gives you 8, so that is true. This is true. But what are we looking for? Not true. So we're going to eliminate right away. Vámonos. Now, let's read B. It is equally likely for an apple or pecan pie. Apple. How many do we have for apple? And what about pecan pie? 3. Now, when we have or, that means it's giving you the choice, the option of getting either or. You can get apple pie or you can get pecan pie. It's fine. Whatever you get, it's fine. Let's say it's me that's telling you, you know what, get me some apple pie or pecan pie. So how many possibilities do you have if I ask for apple or pecan? It doesn't matter which ones. Oh, well, if it doesn't matter, I have 5 out of 20 for the possibilities for apple, and I have 3 out of 20 for pecan. So the probability that I get Michelin out of something that he likes, 8 out of 20. Now I'm just going to put 8 so we don't get confused. 8 to be sold as for a chocolate pie to be sold. How many do we have chocolate? 8. Okay. Ahora les voy a preguntar. I'm going to ask. Is it equally likely for an apple or pecan pie to be sold as for a chocolate pie to be sold? Is it equal? Is it the same? Yes. It's true. So that means we're going to cross it out. Let's check C. It is more likely for an apple or lemon pie. How many do we have for apple? How many do we have for lemon? 4. 5 plus 4. What's 5 plus 4? Okay, it says it is more likely 9 to be sold. Then for a pecan or chocolate to be sold, how many do we have for pecan? 3. How many do we have for chocolate? 8. What's 3 plus 8? Okay, I'm going to ask you this. Is it more likely for an apple or lemon pie to be sold than for a pecan or chocolate? No. Why not? Because it's less. So this is not true. So it might be the one you're looking for. Now, D. It is less likely for pecan pie to be sold. How many do we have for pecan? 3. Pecan pie to be sold. Then a lemon pie to be sold. How many do we have for lemon? 4. Uh-oh. Okay, let's check. Is it less likely that we get a pecan pie than a lemon pie? Yes. 3 is less than 4. So this is true. But we're looking for not true. C would be our answer. Number 24. A student ran a distance of 3.5 miles each day for 5 days. Let me highlight that very quickly. Now, then the student ran a distance of 4.1/4 miles every day for the next 5 days as well. What was the total distance in miles the student ran during these 10 days? Both of them combined. Okay, now, for the first 5 days, the student ran and ran and ran, right? He ran 3.5 miles. Then he ran another 3.5 miles. I mean, we can do this. Of course, there's no problem with that. But there's something else that we can do. Instead of involving fractions in this case, it is, in a way, avoidable. 1/2 is the same thing as 3.5. We can actually, instead of adding this, we can add 3.5 plus 3.5 plus 3.5 plus 3.5 plus 3.5. Or, I'm guessing, I know that you can do this. 3.5 times 5, these being the 5 days that he ran this distance. What's 5 times 5? 25. 3 times 5? 15 plus 2. 17. How many decimal points? Places, just 1. So I have 17.5 for the distance for the first 5 days. For the next 5 days, I have 4.1/4. I can do the same 4.1/4. I could do the same thing over here, or I could do this right away. Instead of 4.1/4, 4.25. Now, 4.25 for the next 5 days, so times 5 is once again, because of the 5 days that he ran this distance. 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 2 is 12. And 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1, 21. Now, 2 decimal places means it goes right here. And since we're trying to find the total distance, we're going to have to combine these two. Plus 17.5. And you add a 0. 5 plus 0, 5. 5 plus 2, 7. Decimal, 1 plus 7, 8. And 2 plus 1 is 3. 38.75 would be your final total distance. Where do you have 38? I don't have 38 here. I have 38 here, but it has the 3/4. That's because 3/4 and 0.75 is the same thing. And this is your answer for number 20. Now, number 25, use the ruler provided. In this case, we wouldn't be able to use a ruler. So I'm going to tell you that is 3.5 centimeters. Now, which measurement is closest to the area of the circle in square centimeters? Well, first things first. We need to find the formula for area of a circle. The formula is A equals pi r squared. Now, if we plug in what we know, because this is what we know, because I told you, this is your radius. If it was from one side to the other, that would be diameter. The distance from one side of the circle to the other side, from one edge, however you want to call it, the entire line is called diameter. Half of the diameter is called radius. So this is, oh, sorry about that. This is what we're going to plug in. So we have, what's pi? 3.14. And then we have 3.5 is squared. We find this, we find our answer. Simple as that. So first, let's do these two, right? Oh, these, if you want. 3.5 is squared means you're going to multiply it by itself. 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2 is 17. We're done with 5. 1x means 1 0. What's 3 times 5? 15. 3 times 3 plus 10 plus 1, 10. 5 plus 0. 7 plus 5 is 12. And the 1 goes here. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then the 1, you bring it down. How many decimal places? 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. So if we continue, we have A equals 3.14. And we have 12.25, correct? Yeah. Now we multiply these two and we get our answer. Finally, right? 3.14 and we have 12.25. We put the one that has more digits on the top. That way it's easier. 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 2, 10. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1, 9. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Then we're done with 4. 1x means 1 0. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. We're done with 1. 2x's means 2 zeros. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1, 7. 2 times 3 is 6. And then 3 times 1 is 3. There we go. 0, 5. 9 plus 2 plus 7. Well, plus 5. 9 plus 2 is 11. Plus 5 is 16. 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. Plus another 7. 14. This is a 4. Careful. 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 6 is 8. And then 3, you bring it down. How many decimal places do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So that means it goes over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. My answer would be 38.46. That's the closest one. And the closest one is